I would like to thank to my partner for organizing this event, Mr. Dan Cimpean, the director of the National Cyber Security Directorate from Romania. Thank you, the honorable speakers and respectful attendees and guests. We wish all of you an enriching and contributing conference. Thank you very much. Mr. Cimpean,
Thank
floor
you
is back to you.
Thank you so much for handing it back to me. You already mentioned a couple of interesting aspects like the work done by NIST, the thoughts on resilience that were already, let's say, made and already shared since a couple of years actually by famous analysts, and I would call them gurus of security and cybersecurity. And because I think the most important for us in this format will be to share views and experience, maybe, and also because I know one of the participants has a time constraint, I would really like to ask Mircea Scheau to share with us quarter an hour, 20 minutes from his view on cyber resilience, and not only at this moment. So Mircea.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dan. Just a second, please.
I guess you will entertain us with some slides as well.
Just tell me if it's shared, the screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect.
Just the presentation mode, and
yes. In this case, just to put it in the presentation mode.
Indeed.
It is okay?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, in this case, I just want to congratulate the National Cybersecurity Directorate and the Institute for Cyber Policy Studies, which organizes this event with the support of Agile Press. Do not forget about our partners. And I want to especially say thank all of you for the invitation and for the opportunity to participate. Like Dan said before, and like you said before, it's quite difficult to present something new in this field, which is under the eyeglasses of the authorities and represents one of the main concern of the regulatory bodies, organizations. Therefore, with your permission, I will try a less conventional approach with the hope that will be interesting in some ways. I will not go into details related to the Digital Operational Resilience Act, DORA, or the NIS2 directive as part of the new era of cyber transparency, nor will we discuss in detail the regulations of the European Central Bank or the Bank for International Settlements. I strongly believe that these topics should be treated and exposed in debates organized exclusively or centered on the subject. That's why I'll start by talking a little bit about the project we have under construction, machine learning, which is like a child now. I like to say that it's like a child, but grows with the help of the team involved and with the team involved in the project and with our partners. Some of the partnership are already concluded, finalized. Another part are about to be signed. I want to accept and I want to express my thanks. I want to accept the fact that without the total involvement of the team, including the volunteers, really friends actually, and without the support of our partners, it would have been extremely difficult to start building the project. I just to speak as the beginning of the presentation about this project because it covers several areas of activity, starting from money laundering and underground or shadow economy, and up to computer crime or cyber crime, like we like to say. Also, I think it fits quite well in the financial banking and the cybersecurity landscape, and certainly on the resilience financial banking system. We want it to be a machine learning capable of processing data in real time, but for this, it needs to be very, very well trained. The basic information, which is needed at the beginning under human supervision, to be of the best quality. And all other data that they are received along the way to be properly filtered and received in a timely manner. You know, machine learning received information provided by specialized private companies and qualified institutions. The count data are processed based on the algorithms developed by the team members involved in the project, like I told you before, and are inserted, uploaded to the platform. The obtained results are then made available on 3 levels. You can see on the screen, I hope. Access to the first level, it's offered to the general public, freely, sure, and has a narrower informative character. Access to the second level is offered based on credentials to companies with which they are signed collaboration protocols, and access to the third level also based on credentials. It's offered to all platform resources to national and European institutions. For example, if the platform delivers 12 items, suppose so, just talking right now, 4 items are available to the general public, 8 items to the companies with which there are collaboration protocols, and all 12 items are available free of charge to institutions. And machine learning received information from several sources, concatenates them, processes them, and delivers them as I stated previously. Later, with a few buttons, yes, a few button presses, where we can obtain comparative statistical situations between several European states, and check in real time. We want even this desire. It's impossible for now, and it's also particularly difficult to achieve in the short future. But as an example, we can compare shadow economy level between Estonia and Germany, or cybercrime level between some countries. And of course, we are making efforts to cover as large an area as possible internationally outside the European Union. But the project requires additional resources, informations, data that I really want, that we really want to access. At the moment, we don't have entirely. The algorithm that I previously presented is valid for the countries of the European Union are also implemented for the national space. The comparison being made between national counties. Just compare Bucharest with Argeș, or compare Bihor with I don't know, Iași. So it's the same procedure, just the data are different. I chose to approach firstly the FinCrime project because it represents an example of what can be done in terms of early warning, or at least awareness of the dangers to which individuals, private companies and institutions are subjects. For sure, things can be greatly improved, and we are really open to any constructive idea. In the same time, I will try to introduce at the end of the presentation another example, approached by another state regarding risk and resilience in the financial and banking sector. But until then, I would like to bring to your attention an interesting study developed by PricewaterhouseCoopers. According to PricewaterhouseCoopers 2023 Global Digital Trust Insights Survey, a catastrophic cyber attack is the top scenario in 2023 resilience plan. Such an attack would surely put C-suite alliances to the test. Cybersecurity has become a dynamic field, rapidly adjusting and shifting to keep a space with the businesses' inventiveness. Agility is what's needed for the tougher challenges ahead. More than 70 business and tech executives saw improvement in their enterprises' cybersecurity in 2022, thanks to cumulative investment and C-suite collaboration. And more than a quarter reported progress in all areas identified as critical to cybersecurity, but 38% expects more serious attacks. 29% of large organizations expects an increase in operational technology attacks, and 45% of security and IT exec expects further risks in ransomware attacks. That's reality, actually. There are three of the cyber events types most concerning to senior executives. Although the tactics and techniques in these scenarios might require technical expertise to understand, this much should be clear: the consequences of each spill over to areas that executives in operations, finance, data, and enterprise risk management needs to address. The call to action for each C-suite executive isn't intended to be prescriptive. Instead, it illustrates the various angles that might need to be addresses for a full and lasting response to cyber attack. Regarding cyber, disengaged executive could be a point of failure, and fragmented or expensive. Risk is the word in a cyber today. More and more cybersecurity teams are working together with those in risk, internal audit, and compliance, a sign that cyber is taking an important place as an enterprise risk management priority. Life is what happens while you are making other plans. The saying goes, life is what happens while you are making other plans. It's a saying, a wise saying. It's also true of businesses. Resilience means being able to stay on track even when expected problems arise: a catastrophic cyber attack, a global recession, a new health crisis, and so on. Talking on all hazards, approach to identifying sources of disruption is necessary for any organizations in light of today, of today's risk environment, and especially for financial banking institutions. But unfortunately, even senior executives worry that their enterprise isn't fully prepared to address heightened threats. Only 7, I want to repeat, only 7% of senior executives says they are taking truly integrated, holistic approaches to 5K capabilities that define resilience. Unfortunately, I believe that each of those participating in this meeting is familiar with the elements related to governance, testing, identification, protection, detection, recovery, and therefore I do not consider it necessary to insist on them. Sorry?
Sorry, there was an interruption from one of the attendees. I muted you.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, but we can say something else. I can repeat the phrase approximately. I believe that each of those participants knows about the 5 Ks. But we can say something else, especially that regulators want visibility into cyber practices because there is a need to protect from fraud and loss of both individuals and private companies, in which we can only include the financial banking institutions and prevent industry or system-wide disruptions. Like an example, in addition to the rules pending with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the New York State Department of Financial Services is weighing a proposal that turns leading practices into regulatory requirements for covered entities. Layered security approach consists of the following: data security, application security, and so on, until policies, procedures, and governance. I don't like to read from the screen because everybody can read from the screen and it's nothing new. Just as a joke, we can look at the system, whole system, like Tal and Dan said before. We can, and I think that we must look at the system like an onion. But we have to admit that information protection and implicitly cyber resilience in the financial and banking sector does not mean only cyber security. Every level is important. We can look at it as a link in a chain and realize that the strength of the chain is directly proportional to the strength of the weakest link. So we can discuss each element separately, but for a very long time, but I think that this analysis will be the subject of another event that will be organized by the National Cybersecurity Directorate and the Institute for Cyber Policy Studies, with the support of Agile Press, and why not, with the involvement of other organizations, other institutions, such as Cyber the Division of the Romanian Information Service. I think that the map, it's quite clear what can be done and what can be arranged and what could be set it up just to prevent the cyber attacks and to build a resilient system. I will not insist, like before, I will not insist on that on this page. Intelligence-led golden thread. Like I told you at the beginning of the presentation, we'll try to take an example of approaching absolutely random. The example, just I saw this example and seemed for me to be really interesting, and we'll try to introduce the Bank of England's policy regarding this subject. I think it is really interesting the perspective. Paul Williams, head of Operational Risk and Resilience Division, Bank of England, Bank of England, said that operational disruption can impact financial stability, threaten the viability of individual companies and financial market infrastructures, or cause harm to consumers and other market participants in the financial system. Companies and financial banking institutions need to consider all of these risks when assessing the appropriate levels of resilience within their respective businesses. Dealing with cyber risk is an important, really important element of operational resilience. CBAST promotes an intelligent lead penetration testing approach that mimics the action of cyber attackers intent on compromising an organization's important business services and disrupting the technology assets, people, and processes supporting those services. People. What differentiates CBAST from other security testing regimes is just this intelligence-led approach. This is the golden thread that runs through the entire length of an assessment. This approach means that an organization's activities are traceable to their role in supporting the wider economy and the credible threats that the organization faces in undertaking their role. Such approaches may differ from one financial banking institution to another, or from a country to another. But what is very important is that the measures adopted must meet national and international recommendations, directives, and programs. I just mentioned DORA and NIST 2. Perhaps another time we'll talk about these subjects. With the hope that I did not bore you too much, I want to thank you all for the time you choose to follow the presentation, and I want also to wish you a very pleasant day ahead. Sure, waiting for your questions. Hope to answer to the question, to be able to answer to the questions.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mircea, for sharing with all of us your thoughts. Actually, I have a question.
Okay, okay.
And I hope you will be able to still have a little time, a couple of minutes to discuss with us. So your view, it's of course it's a very applied one with and shows a bit of hands-on experience in dealing with cyber resilience at organizational level or in a particular sector. What I wanted to ask you at this moment, from your practical experience, how easy or difficult is to discuss about cyber resilience with, let's say, non-specialized, non-professional people in this topic? I mean, people that do not have prior deep experience, because my own feeling and experience is that it's not always easy to explain and to discuss technical concepts or new concepts to decision makers, to industry leaders, business leaders, political decision makers as well. And I was curious about how do you see this with a view of financial sector, of course.
Thank you so much for the question. Really interesting one. I want to say again that I'm talking in this panel only from academic perspective. I represent Babes-Bolyai University European Institute study, but I'll try to to answer to your question however I can. You know, many people don't realize the danger until it happened, the risk. I used to speak with a friend of mine before about cyber insurance. Not many people understand what's mean cyber insurance, what's mean risk mitigate. Not technical, practical, how to mitigate the risk, how to ensure a cyber risk that I cannot count it in an accounting manner. I cannot evaluate the data, the information from my company. How I can sign one insurance? Who is able to to make the audit. My opinion, it's really clear. Only the certified auditors are in charge to make this audit. And the certified auditors are certified by National Directorate in Romanian. Some of the executives understand the risk. They're engineers, they're economic people, law degree, and their perspective is really clear because happened to them personally. So wants to protect their companies, but others are really against. We don't need them. We have another priorities. You know, in 2020, if I well remember, 2020 April, happened something in one European institution. I don't want to name it. But at that time, a volunteer group talked about this subject, and one friend of us from NATO, if I well remember, said that investment that in other perspective, in other way, in other situation, would need 10 years of fighting with the decision makers, were solved in 24 years, in 24 hours. Why? Because happened. And then they realized that nobody can work. The whole European institution was fall down. And you know what I'm talking about. Happened in April, after the COVID started the COVID-19. So a little bit difficult. Our role, awareness, your role, together with Romanian police, with other institutions, to promote cybersecurity culture. It's obviously really very important. It's essential. But what I observed, my personal observation, if the teenagers, if the scholarships, if the students understand very well the nature of the danger, I think not all the people, because I don't want to say something wrong. I think that decision makers not understand at the same level. Perhaps they have another priorities, but when the risk happens, it's already too late. It's already too late to understand.
Absolutely.
Much easier and much wiser to understand the lesson from another one, not from your personal experience. You are not forced. It is not need to pass through the same experience like other one. Just ask the experts, learn from them, ask the people who suffered, and you will start to build your own resilience slowly. There is nothing is perfect from the beginning.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I see there is a question from Octavia.
Yes, thank you. It's not only for Mircea, but maybe for all of you. We all know that there is an appetite for the financial and banking field when we refer to cyber. And these days, we are talking more than ever about digital and implicitly cyber inclusion with reference to migrants from the East space. Of course, you, Mircea, know better than we do that there are two sides of the coin. So this inclusion could bring aspects not only of one type. So how do you think the financial and banking field will be influenced positively or negatively, if they will be influenced by this digital inclusion? And how will Europe find the resources to ensure the necessary balance, including at the legislative level, when integrating migrants from the war zone? Thank you.
Okay, another really interesting question. I must repeat what I said before to Dana. I'm talking right now from the academic perspective. I'm here in the position of researcher of European Study Institute from Babes-Bolyai, but I'll try to answer a little bit political answer. ECB, European Central Bank, has a program of studies. No any program. It's only with good things. I don't find in my trip in the life. No any program is only with good things, and we'll discover the bad things or the dangers on our way to implement the digitalization. I think somebody else has opened, perhaps Tal has opened the microphone. I think that the future will show us if we'll take good or bad decision. Digital inclusion. I'm pro, if you ask me, personally, with no connection with any institution. Digital is a necessity right now. We don't know in the future. We'll see. The experts will study the problem and we'll establish the steps. We'll establish the program. And I think that will be an open society discussion. And everybody will be able to add or to comment or to say something in support or against the proposition. I don't know, Octavia, if I answered to your question, but it's under construction.
Thank you, Mircea. Yeah, indeed, and we are talking a lot these days about digital upskilling and things like that.
I know this.
Thank you.
It's a main concern, and I know this.
Yeah.
And I thank you so much to you.
Okay, thank you both. Also, of course, in order to make a smooth transition to the next panel, just wanted to remind all of you about the following. Of course, when we talk about cyber resilience, we talk about this in the context of unpredictability, extreme uncertainty because of the rapid evolution of technologies, of the cyber threats, of the risks that we see. And that's why, of course, one could think about cyber resilience at the level of, let's say, very, very, very granular in terms of cyber systems. So hardening of systems and so on against identified threats and so on. Can think about resilience at the level of a team or organization, or of course we can raise this and think resilience in terms of economic sector, society, country, international. So we can discuss about this at multiple levels, and this is what makes it very complex and interesting in the same time. And for these reasons also it's very complicated to give let's say a very comprehensive definition of cyber resilience. For example, when we talk about a particular system, one may think intuitively it's okay, resilience, it's about the ability of the system to prepare, absorb, recover, or adapt to adverse effects or cyber attacks.
At all. Yes.
Of course, it's not enough. When we talk about organization, definitely aspects of business resilience, awareness, stuff like that comes in the picture. When we talk about economic sector or society or a country, it's completely different picture, even if we discuss about cyber resilience in that particular context. So this term cyber resilience has multiple viewpoints, multiple angles. We can look at it with different levels of granularity, and we got to be aware of this.